So some of the suggestions I could give people as far as some things that I've mentioned people privately but not in the shiurim to overcome this, if a person has, especially guys, has a desire to do it, Gemara says, say Shema Yisrael first. That doesn't work, go open a book, start learning Torah. That doesn't work, start thinking about this shiur or the shiur about Gehenom that talks about what's going to happen to you once you die. Sometimes even all those three things don't work. So you could add some other things I'm going to mention to you now. One thing is that when a person gets hot, the first thing you need to do is get yourself cold. Go, run into the shower, cold shower. No hot at all, cold shower. Sometimes this is going to be just enough to cool you off and you're going to get back to normal. So cold shower it is. If that doesn't work, then take your fingers and pinch yourself in a sensitive place in your body. The back of your thigh, the back of your arm. Don't cause yourself damage and bleeding. It's not necessary. Just enough pain to stop. And get yourself to think about something else. Now, aside from that, you have to also reward yourself for overcoming this. Not by buying yourself a new car every day, but rather by writing a journal. Every day that you overcome it, one day passes, the next morning when you wake up, after you do your prayers and everything else, think about how good you feel that you overcame another day. Write down that good feeling in a journal. 1 sentence, 5 sentences, whatever you need to describe yourself. And describe that feeling. Why do you do this? Because you're going to need this book. When? The next time the Yetzirah comes back and you're already going for 60 days, for 90 days, for 6 months, for a year and a half, Yetzirah is not on vacation just because you're on vacation. He's going to wait for you, sometimes 20 years. But if you're writing this journal for a long time, he's going to come back and say, wait, hold on a second. You know what? You make a lot of sense, Yetzirah, but let me see. Hold on a second. Hold on. I like what you're saying. Hold on a second. It sounds good. 1 second, Yetzirah. Wait, but this makes more sense. You make sense, Yetzirah, but your cents are really pennies. This is dollars. This is millions. Why? I remember how I felt on day number 18, day number 19, day number 61, day number 187. Look, I wrote it. I wrote how I feel. After all these times, I want that feeling, because I know how I feel after I listen to you. Hashem Yachem, all of this, opposite. It's not worth it. It's simply not worth it. So you write yourself a little journal. That's another way that you can overcome this. Remind yourself constantly of everything we learned in this shiurim. I have a whole playlist on our YouTube channel, on the website. There's actually a tab that Sania Tzaddik actually made for us called Wasting Seed. Why? All of the shiurim about wasting seed are over there. You should be watching those shiurim on a monthly basis. Man, female, child, adult, rabbi, talmid, everybody should be watching this shiurim. It has nothing to do with me. It's just easier to watch the shiur that's going to give you 150 to 300 sources than go look at each individual source yourself and look for that one line that's going to give you Rat Shamayim. Watch these shiurim. Some of them are long, some of them are short, but you should be watching these shiurim on a regular basis. To constantly remind yourself it's not worth it. It's not enough to do it 1 time or 2 times or 5 times. It's not enough you did it while you were single and now you stop when you were married. By the way, everybody that thinks that this sin goes away once you get married is wrong. In fact, I have more people that are addicted to it that I'm trying to help that are married than the ones that are single. Marriage doesn't solve this problem like some people think. Oh, no, just get married as soon as possible. It'll solve the problem. It's not true. It doesn't solve the problem. Number one, you still have to deal with the fact that she's nidah for half the month. What are you going to do? I have many guys, grown men, tell me, listen, I do everything good, but when she's nidah, I can't take it. That's the test, you moron. What do you mean you do everything good? It's like saying I eat kasher as long as I'm in the house, but as soon as I go outside, I don't eat kasher. What do you mean? But that's the test. That's the test when you're out there, when it's tough. That's the test. So you have to have Yirat Shamayim. You have to be scared to death. You have to remind yourself of this stuff. Marriage is not going to fix that problem. What's going to fix that problem is being afraid to lose everything. Your relationship with Hashem, Olam HaBa, Olam Hazeh, your marriage, your kids. Your kids are going to Hashem Yachem, what's going to happen to them, what they're going to be. Why? Because this is what you're doing to yourself. You can't blame God for this. You have a kid that's coming out with Baal Mum, is missing something. It's not Hashem's fault. It's not Hashem's fault. So you have to understand these things that are hard to hear are the only thing that's going to protect us. It's the only thing. If you're not scared of your brit, you're not going to treat it with respect. You're going to look at it whenever you want. Which brings me to the next point that it's helped many, many people far beyond what you would think. As I advised you to do what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said. And what he did in his life. Rabbi HaKadosh was called a Kadosh because he never looked at his own brit. Not didn't touch it only. He never looked at it. Why not look at it? If you look at it, you become comfortable with it. So what do you do as far as to clean yourself? You don't need to touch yourself to clean yourself. First and foremost, use a sponge. That's not exactly expensive endeavor. You go to the dollar store, you get one for $1. If you need, we'll start a fundraiser for you to get the $1. Okay? Get a sponge. That's number one. Number two, you don't need to actually touch the corona when you clean yourself. So the reality is most people say, no, it's for hygienic reasons. Yeah, okay, buddy. I'm a guy also. You don't need to. There's not a problem. Same thing with women. Don't get comfortable with yourself. Don't get comfortable with yourself. There's no reason to get comfortable. You have to do your business, clean whatever you need to clean. Of course, their body is completely the opposite of ours. But don't get comfortable with yourself. Also, make sure your kids are not comfortable with themselves. I have little kids, Hashem Yachem, little kids that don't realize it's bad. Their parents let them do whatever they want, and they have an addiction already before they're 12. And then people ask, why is there so much tragedy in the world? There's so much tragedy because we're killing already without knowing. You want to be holy, you have to do things like this that are difficult, and no one is ever going to give you credit for it except Hashem. Why? Because no one knows you're doing it. If you're looking for mitzvot that everyone sees, that's not going to make you tzaddik. That's not going to make you righteous. In fact, it may be the opposite sometimes. To be a real tzaddik, to be kadosh, to be a holy person, requires you to do things that you're not going to get any credit from anyone except Hashem. The things that you do in closed rooms, the things you do in the bathroom. This, Rabotai, is extremely important for Am Yisrael to know. Unfortunately, we're left with only me to tell you. But hey, listen, Makom she'en ish tishtadel liot ish. Alvai, there was 1,000 people saying the same thing, and you wouldn't need to hear this shiur. And I'll give you a shiur that scares you in a different way. But if that's what we have in this generation, that's what we have. Baruch Hashem that we have a merit to do something, but reality is it should be 1,000 rabbis screaming and crying their hearts out, telling Am Yisrael to stop destroying themselves. All these divorces, all of the heresy, all the atheism, all of the conversions to different religions, all of this Zionism, communist mentality, all of it starts with this. We destroy our own brit, we're destroying our own nation. That's exactly what we thought we left behind in Egypt, in last week's parasha. We thought we left Egypt because Egypt was a symbolic of wasting seed, gilui arayot, all of the sex crimes. The reality is, we're just as bad today as we were back then. But today we have information. We have a solution. You simply have to watch yourself. There are different websites and apps that are going to help guys watch their eyes. If you know yourself, that as soon as you look at something, as soon as you look at somebody, you're going to have all types of thoughts. They're going to even lead you to a dream or something like that. Go on to websites like Guard Your Eyes and some other similar websites. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to get a list of them that we're going to publish soon. One of the tzaddikim from Canada is putting a list together for us to publicize for people. So you have different resources of how to watch your eyes. The reality is some of these tools are useful for some people. They're not useful for others. Because you can't have this software on some computers because you need it for work or otherwise. The reality is that you have to do everything you can to protect yourself. But at the end of it all, if you're not afraid to death, nothing will help you. I have one guy, Baruch Hashem, that we helped. And Baruch Hashem, and now I think he's going maybe 2 years already with it. But he used to tell me, listen, I went to yeshiva. I went to kollel. I learned all day. I learned this. I did everything possible. I didn't even have a phone. He said the phone that I had is the phone from the years of Antiochus. Antiochus is his phone number. Yeah, the phone, yeah. But, so what happened? He says, but once a month, I would go to my mom's house or some relative's house to visit, and they had a computer there, or a phone there or something. And I couldn't wait to go visit this relative that I couldn't stand just to go use their computer so I could Hashem do what I wanted. Meaning that all of these tools, the software and the phone, all that stuff, it's all good. But if you don't have Yirat Shamayim, if you're not scared to death to destroy your relationship with Hashem, to destroy your Olam Hazeh, to destroy your Olam HaBa, at some point you're going to fail. You have to be scared. How? By going over this information over and over and over again and realizing that Hashem gave you the ability to enjoy life physically, emotionally, spiritually, and so on. But there's permissible ways and there's forbidden ways. Once you understand the consequence of every action, you start realizing it's simply not worth it. So this, B'ezrat Hashem, hopefully will give you some more ideas of what to do when the Yetzer Hara arrives. There's many other ideas that I remember having, B'ezrat Hashem, on this, or anyone that needs even more ideas of how to stop it or what to do. B'ezrat Hashem, I'm more than happy to help if you're a very serious person. But again, remember, the key is Yirat Shamayim. If you don't have Yirat Shamayim, nothing can help you. Nothing can help you. Even Hashem himself is limited and he can't help you. Why? If you're not afraid of him, he can't help you.